Hey guys, Troy here, back with another video today. Bringing you guys a soccer video, but more specifically, we are going to be talking about the young stars of the US men's national team. Now, before I even get into the specifics of the individual players and their situations and prices, I have to make a few general statements first. The first being that this is not a buy now, where I'm going to go in depth on how their prices have changed and whether now is the exact time you should be buying. I think this video will be especially helpful to some of you guys who are maybe newer to soccer or to the US men's national team. I'm just going to try to provide you the information and then you can make your own decisions on whether or not you're going to buy or sell. But saying that, I will say in general, I do think Americans are a good buy, especially if you're willing to wait long term, because the core of their team is really young and has a lot of room to develop and grow. And Americans are always going to have a ton of interest in the sports card market, and their prices are a lot of times higher than other players who are undoubtedly more talented or who have accomplished more, but there's just a lot of American interest. And I think that interest is going to continue to grow. And like I mentioned before, if you really are thinking long term, the World Cup is going to be in the US in 2026. So who knows, sports cards could be completely gone by then, honestly. People might be totally into the digital and blockchain. But okay, now into the specific players. The first one we have to talk about, a lot of people might already be familiar with him. Captain America himself, Mr. Christian Pulisic. The young winger for Chelsea started off his career at Borussia Dortmund before making a big money move to Chelsea in 2019. He's really the one who started this new wave of hope for Americans having success overseas. So he's really been a transformational player for the whole national team. And he's had a lot of injuries, so that's something to be concerned with. He has some injury concerns. He seems to keep picking up these little nicks and things that are keeping him out of games. And I think a lot of people, especially non-Americans, love to call him overhyped. But I was actually really surprised when I went and looked at his stats. Last season with Chelsea, across 34 games, he had 11 goals and 10 assists. That's actually really good production for a winger especially. So as of now, Pulisic is definitely the main man for the US men's national team. And if you want to invest in him, the card I recommend you pick up is his 2016 Select in his Team USA uniform. Which actually, if I'm not mistaken, is this model right here. That card is pretty pricey. It's going for $150 right now. And I promised I wasn't going to do too much price or technical analysis on this one. But even just off the top of my head, I remember, because I was looking at these cards and they were, $5, $10, $15 at the beginning of this year. So they've absolutely skyrocketed. But I'm not going to tell you whether I think you should buy or sell. That's for you to decide. But Pulisic, really talented. Definitely someone to keep on your watch list for Team USA moving forward. The next player, debatably, at the young age of 17 years old, the second best American in the world right now, that is Giovanni Reyna. As I mentioned, 17 years old, playing for Borussia Dortmund in the German Bundesliga. The son of a former US men's national team player, Claudio Reyna. You can just see it with Reyna. He has football and soccer in his blood. He has that high IQ. He knows how to move. He's not afraid. He has all the confidence in the world, which I think leads to him having the potential to be truly world class. And I really think it's just a matter of time until he follows in the footsteps of former Borussia Dortmund man Christian Pulisic, who we just mentioned, and he gets a big money move to another club. And honestly, in my opinion, he's still very young. We haven't seen it consistently yet for long periods of time, but I honestly think he has the potential to be better than Pulisic. So as you can tell, people are very excited about him, and that is definitely reflected in his prices. If you guys want to invest in Reyna, I recommend you check out his Topps Chrome Bundesliga from 2019, but it's going to cost you. That card right now is going for $250 in raw condition. And real quick, I'm doing all the cards in raw condition just because in soccer, graded prices are kind of all over the place and they're not really done in that heavy of volume. So it's just better to stick to raw. But anyways, as I was saying, Giovanni Reyna, great player, very, very expensive. And once again, I'm not going to tell you whether I think you should buy or sell right now. That's for you to decide. But I honestly see a scenario where those cards could really go on a run and, believe it or not, be more expensive than they are today. Okay, so some of you guys might be watching and wondering, all right, Troy, that's enough. I'm not spending $200 on a raw soccer card. That's fine, that's fine. The next three are a little cheaper, but still very talented players. The first player we're gonna take a look at is Josh Sargent. Once again, young Bundesliga American player, striker for Werder Bremen. Not quite as big of a club as, you know, a Chelsea or a Dortmund, but still to be a striker in the top German league at such a young age is a big accomplishment. You don't get there without having a lot of talent. Unfortunately, his production in that spot last year was a little lackluster, only scoring 4 goals and 4 assists in 28 games. And believe it or not, guys, a striker's worth isn't purely measured in goals, but almost anyone who's watched Sargent play knows he needs to step it up in this current season. But still, even then, a ton of talent, been a main player for the US men's national team, mostly for the youth teams, but even then has had a lot of success. If you want to invest in him, I would recommend checking out his 2018 Optic card, where he's in his Team USA uniform, going for only $10. And what's nice about these is that they have the rated rookie logo on there. There's no confusion about whether it's a rookie card or not. So if Sargent steps it up and really starts having some success, I could see those cards definitely rising. Once again, it's a risk though. Should you buy? Should you not buy? I don't know for sure. But Sargent, definitely someone you should be keeping your eyes on. The next player, I might even go as far as to say that he is the most naturally talented player in the entire US men's national team pool. And that is Timothy Weah, the son of the great George Weah. He started off his career in the PSG Academy, one of the biggest clubs in the world. For some of you guys who are new to soccer, that's where Neymar and Mbappe play. He had a loan move to Celtic in Scotland and has been really highly rated, not just as an American, but as a European prospect in general. The unfortunate thing about him is he's really had some injuries and has barely played in the last 2 years. But when he has played, he's been really good. And even after all those injuries and everything that happened, he was sold for 10 million from PSG to Lille, still in France. So obviously Lille believes in him. They have a great track record of developing talented players like Eden Hazard. So if he can stay healthy, I think he can really turn into a top European player. But once again, as everyone knows, staying healthy is easier said than done. But the good news about him is if you want to buy his cards, they are really affordable. His Optic 2018, you can pick that card up for $5. And if you want to round up and make it an even 10, you can even get his Optic Holo for a little bit more than $10. Once again, a guy who, if he is able to stay healthy and put it all together, could be one of the stars of the US men's national team. I mostly like to stick to attackers when I'm making soccer card investments, unless they're truly world class. But I've gotten a lot of requests actually in my comments to talk about this guy, so I'm going to do it. And that is Weston McKennie, central midfielder for Juventus, the same team that currently has Cristiano Ronaldo. He's not much of a goal scorer or even someone who gives out a lot of assists. He mostly just works hard in the midfield, plays a little bit of defense, kind of does it all, somewhat of a workhorse for the team. Very talented player once again. You don't get to start for Juventus without having a lot of talent. I'm just not sure how excited he's going to get people in the hobby. I mean, just look at the price of some of the actually truly world-class central midfielders, and you can pick them up for pennies, basically. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with McKennie. You can pick up his Optic 2018 card for $15. Maybe a bit of a safer play. I think he has a good shot to kind of be locked in as a starting midfielder for the national team. But there's definitely way more upside with guys like Weah and Sargent. Alright guys, that's it for the video today. I just kind of wanted to introduce you to all the young talent the US men's national team has and to show you the specific cards I'd be buying if you were interested in investing in these guys. But I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe down below. We're going to keep the videos coming. Thanks again.